Hey, it's Mr. George, and today's video is going to be on an important topic, creating and delivering effective presentations. Now, first we're going to just talk about individual presentations today. And I'm going to give you some ideas, some keys, some things that you should try and work on, especially if you kind of struggle with them. So I thought it would be easier if we just actually went into a really brief presentation as a model, and then I looked at some keys to creating a good visual aid, as well as some best practices when making a presentation, especially within some type of classroom environment. All right, so today's presentation I'm going to give you is going to be on Plymouth, Massachusetts. So Plymouth, Massachusetts is America's hometown, and lots of different things to do there. So this presentation is going to be looking at a couple different areas of town, including the waterfront, certain beaches, and certain tourist attractions. So first tourist attraction I'd like to talk about is Plymouth Plantation, which is very popular for people visiting Plymouth. So within Plymouth Plantation, there's a village section that allows you to look at an actual model of what the village looked like when the Pilgrims landed here in 1620. Now, within the plantation, there's also a visitor center where they show you a really cool movie on the Pilgrim landing. And there's also a great restaurant there you can eat at after you're done, before you hop on the trolley and then bounce back down to downtown. So the next section of Plymouth that I like to talk about is the waterfront, which is also very popular with tourists, lots of different attractions there. So first one that's pretty popular is the Mayflower. Mayflower is actually a replica of the boat that the Pilgrims came over when they discovered Plymouth. And there's the famous rock, 1620 rock. It's always funny when I drive by and I see people just looking at the rock, because it's just a rock that's engraved 1620. So, the next stop on the tour is downtown Plymouth. Downtown Plymouth has some really nice buildings with some classic architecture. In the middle picture here looks at just a picture from downtown. You've got the Pilgrim Museum. You've got lots of different shops, clothing shops, boutiques. There's plenty of places to eat as far as breakfast, lunch, or dinner. There's also a couple nice hotels. What's really nice about downtown is that you can walk to everywhere. It's also a short walk, a tenth of a mile down to the waterfront. There's a trolley that takes you around to all the different tourist destinations in Plymouth, which is also very convenient. That way you won't get lost. And the beaches. There are some great public beaches here. This first picture is a picture of Sagebrush Beach, which is over in Duxbury. Picture to the right is a picture of Plymouth Beach. They're public beaches. Plymouth Beach also has a 4x4 access where if you have four-wheel drive, you can drive out to a 3-mile point and you can park on the beach. A couple other popular beaches, White Horse Beach, which is located in the southern part of town, is also a public beach that has lifeguards, and Nelson Beach is located in the northern part of town, which also has a really cool playground, was recently renovated last year. So I hope you've enjoyed the presentation on Plymouth today. We looked at some tourist destinations, Plymouth Plantation, Plymouth Rock, the Mayflower. There's a trolley system that will take you from the tourist destinations through downtown that has lots of really cool shops, dining facilities, as well as if you have some time to enjoy some of the public beaches that we have here. There's lots to see and will be an excellent weekend destination. And this concludes my presentation on Plymouth, Massachusetts, America's hometown. And I also want to let you know that all those images were retrieved from, they're all public domain images. They're free from copyright and they're openly accessible to anyone that wants to use them, and they were taken from public commons within Wikimedia. Okay, so at this point, what I want to do is I want to talk about presenting, now that you've seen a model through Plymouth, Massachusetts. So when you're presenting, some really key guidelines, things to keep in mind is that you should know what you're talking about. You should rehearse and practice, especially if it's a group presentation or involving software technology. Entertain and engage your audience and communicate your message in a clear and interesting way. Please be enthusiastic. If you're bored by it, don't expect others to be excited about it and pay attention. And really try and use relatable examples, especially if you have a complex topic, and break those complicated topics down into simple to understand topics in an easy way. I would always recommend that you use some type of visual aid. It helps keep you on track as well as your audience. Have someone check it out from the furthest point of the room when you're practicing to ensure that your audience will be able to read it. It's annoying when you can't read or see what's on a slide, so don't do it. Make sure all words are spelled correctly. It's embarrassing when your audience starts to laugh at a presenter's spelling mistakes. For example, in this slide, the word audience is spelled wrong. It's also very disruptive to the audience when someone starts to giggle or laugh or make reference to something that's actually spelled wrong when you're presenting. It makes you look incompetent, and your audience will question your credibility. Even if you've checked it for spelling, have someone else check it, especially if you struggle with the variations of the word there. So now I want to look at some keys to effective presentations. Voice volume is important. It's difficult to pay attention if your audience can't hear you. If you're speaking to a screen, you're projecting your voice in the wrong direction. Speak clearly and slow enough so that your audience can process what you're saying. Don't be the soft talker from Seinfeld. Eye contact keeps your audience attention. If your back is to the audience, don't expect anyone to listen to you. Do you like it when people read things to you? If you have multiple items on one slide, introduce them one at a time so your audience will be forced to listen to what you want, when you want them. You are in control. Test technology equipment prior to presenting to make sure your software is compatible and it works, including the sound. Do you really want to experience technical problems in front of your live audience? Use a laser pointer to focus your attention on an aspect of your visual aid if you have a laser pointer. It's always annoying when someone stands in front of the screen when they're actually trying to present some type of visual aid. So don't make it boring. Don't read your presentation either on paper or on an overhead projector. In both cases, it's boring and your audience is going to assume you don't know what you're talking about, and they're probably going to take a cat nap. Add value to your presentation. If using PowerPoint or some type of visual aid such as Prezi, even Microsoft Word, Google Presentation, you should be talking about what is on your slides, not reading them verbatim. That means word for word. If using PowerPoint, have someone watch your presentation from the back of the room to make sure you can read what's on your slides, offer you feedback, and ask any questions. You want honest feedback. What you don't want is, that was fine. Too much text on slide is boring. No one will pay attention. Use lots of pictures. They're more interesting to look at. When you look at vacation pictures, how much text is on them? A good presentation is like a good paper. Introduce, talk about what you want to talk about, conclude. Conclude your presentation. You can always end by saying, "This concludes my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?" I hope this was helpful, and remember, practice your presentation. You'll feel more comfortable and confident, and your preparation will show in your presentation to your audience.